Let's talk about belly fat and menopause. It's like all of a sudden when women hit 40, they have this muffin top, this belly fat, and it like never used to be there before, and they don't know how to get rid of it. It's almost like weight gain is guaranteed once you're over 40 if you talk to your doctor or you look at what society tells us. Like, oh, it's just your age, you just have to get used to it. Which is like total BS, and we know it's not true because there's lots of women out there in their 40s and 50s who look and feel exactly the way they want to. So let's kind of break down, like, why do we get this belly fat in menopause? Because at the end of the day, knowledge is power. So what's actually happening during perimenopause and into menopause that's causing us to all of a sudden store belly fat? Well, there's a couple of things. The first one is that your progesterone is going to start to decline. This also happens when we get stressed. Progesterone is a female calming hormone, which means it helps us not have mood swings, it helps us sleep, it helps us relax. And so if we're waking up in the middle of the night and we're like having these hormonal rages, it tends to lead us to making poor lifestyle choices because it's hard to want to eat a salad when you're freaking exhausted all the time, right? Being tired leads us to crave carbs, not sleeping is terrible for our weight loss. So that's the first thing, is that progesterone is just naturally going to start to decline. But wait, there's more. So then the other thing that starts happening in perimenopause is our estrogen levels start going crazy. So your whole life they've had like this really steady flow with your cycle, but as you enter perimenopause and then when you get into menopause, they'll actually, obviously, they start to decline. So we have estrogen receptors all over our body, but a lot of them are in our hips and our thighs, which is why when we see women, we will typically gain weight down there. And then when we hit menopause, all of a sudden the weight gain shifts. Well, what's actually going on there? So what's happening is because we don't have estrogen, it's not binding to those receptors anymore. And our testosterone doesn't necessarily change. So our estrogen's gone down, so our testosterone is like a little bit more in charge now. And those receptors tend to be up here, more in our belly area. And so with those, essentially receptors are now kind of in charge, that's where we're gonna store the inflammation, that's where we're gonna store the weight, and that's where we're gonna pull in excess water as well. So when the estrogen drops, essentially we see a lot of that lower body weight gain kind of start to disappear. And again, the weight gain will start to shift up here. So then a couple of other interesting things will start to happen to you as you're transitioning closer to menopause, right? In addition to insulin resistance, we see issues with cholesterol and just an overall inability to burn fat. They've actually done studies in women where they see that your ability to burn free fatty acids does decline in menopause. So yeah, I'm not sure who designed this transition to menopause, but it's total BS and it sucks, but it doesn't have to, because knowledge is power. And so the more that we understand what's going on with our bodies, the more we can put strategies in place to actually combat this. And so it's like having that knowledge, not enough people are out there actually teaching about it. Women are just feeling stuck, they're feeling frustrated, they're battling with their weight, and they're doing things that are actually making it worse. They're cutting carbs, they're doing lots of cardio, they're going on really restrictive, extreme diets. And the problem is that actually is gonna make the menopausal symptoms worse and kind of dig yourself into a deeper hole. So if you're struggling with your weight in menopause, you need a different strategy. And again, I believe that knowledge is power, right? All that we were ever taught about menopause is that we're gonna have hot flashes, and there's literally thousands of different symptoms that are going on, and they start essentially mostly in your 40s for most women. You're gonna start having those symptoms. And so the more you know about them, right? Again, knowledge is power. And so having that knowledge is going to really allow you to put the right strategies in place so that menopause doesn't